apart from the legal requirement of public participation, was the conduct of the public participation. There is what we call cursory, or you are doing public participation for the sake of ticking the boxes. Public participation, as I'm aware, as a lawyer, going by the decision of the High Court in Kiambu County, because in 2013, the Kiambu County Assembly did the same thing. They passed a budget without the adequate stakeholder engagement. And that issue went to the High Court, and it led to the court case, which has become the bedrock of effective or the extent of the public participation exercise. So aware of this legal requirement, as a clerk, I ensured that we have effective public participation, which means the relevant actors. If you are passing a legislation in Nairobi, you must, if affecting Matatu, you must have a presence of those stakeholders, and those stakeholders must also be explained what is there, because what we want to achieve is to get a feedback, so that this feedback can enrich our legislative process. So that has been my experience as advisor of the Assembly in terms of the requirements and how to conduct stakeholder engagement in critical matters of law. And granted an opportunity to be the chairperson of Iebc, having undergone through this particular process, having first-hand experience in terms of the legal consequences of not undertaking an effective stakeholder engagement, I'll be in a position to assist the Commission to navigate this particular process through my expertise and experience.
Thank you. I just want to do one small follow-up question to the question that was asked by CPA Tanui. Sorry, FCPA Tanui. And you are trying to suggest that Iebc can actually be keeping money, or rather funds, beyond the stipulated financial period. Did you know that the 1-year financial period stipulated for every government agency and institution is purposely meant to control performance? And in that, if an institution is not able to utilize the funds allocated in a year, it is a sign of lack of good performance. If you're not able to absorb, if an institution is not able to absorb the monies meant for that financial year, then it means there is lack of capacity or competence to use the money, or something else has changed, because that is always the assumption. I don't know what the expert has to say on this, but I don't want to involve you in a debate, but I just wanted to point that one out, so that you don't leave the room thinking that that would be appropriate.
Basically, I can assist. I can just basically answer. Of course, if at the end of financial year you have not exhausted your budget resources, it means there's a challenge in terms of your internal processes, how you have been able to manage your public finance resources, in terms of procurement planning, and also implementation of those particular plans. That one is basically for a commission, that will be an issue. As an oversight, part of oversight mandate of the commission, that will be one of the issues the commission should ask itself. Out of our procurement plan, why have you not been in a position to utilize these resources, and have you led us to have surplus resources or to return money to the treasury? However, back to your question, of course, the Public Finance Management Act provides for that. This money must, at the end of the financial year, all the unutilized resources, they're supposed to revert back to the national treasury. However, as a legislative expert, because I've drafted similar legislations which have got funds, I've drafted the Kenya Agricultural Livestock Act, which restructured KARI and established KALRO. As a part of legislative design, you can create a fund within the particular law for reasons, but although the budget committees in Parliament frown against that kind of drafting. So basically, there are certain exemptions made to certain institutions so that they can be allowed to keep money beyond the financial year. And that is why the legislative design is to have that money deposited in a fund. So that fund now can be, if you have not been able to complete, or maybe this particular procurement process for if you start procuring Kim's kit now, and we have already obtained almost 10 billion from the National Treasury for IBC for the next financial year. And then this process has been marred with court cases like it has happened before, where the matters have dragged all the way to the Court of Appeal. The IBC, the idea to have the fund is that this money now for that exemption or circumstance can be deposited in the fund, so that once you resolve, because the procurement has already been started, and by the end of the day, the court can also agree that the procurement was done properly. You will now proceed and continue the procurement. But what will happen if you don't have those resources? You'll have to go back and restart procurement afresh. So that is the legislative design of having a fund. And that's why it has been given to few institutions: Parliament, Judiciary, IEBC, and also the county assemblies. That's the one in the legislative design. The funds are created for that particular purpose.
Okay, thank you very much. I would like to ask Bwana Bore to also ask you some questions.
Mugenge.
Yes, sir.
In the discussions you've had with you, one of your strengths you believe is political persuasions and ability to negotiate. You have mentioned a few cases where you talked to the Auditor General to allow you to do some arrangement so that you can have some little money to spend. While that is the case, between 2017 and 2018, and I think 2019, you spend most of your time running away from your office, maybe because of MCAs and the clerk of the assembly trying to chase you away from office. Wouldn't you use your political skills to negotiate yourself back to the office?
Thank you very much, Mr. Bore. I think if you were to ask me today, the job of a clerk of assembly, it's a job which I cannot say I cannot take. That's why I'm taking the IBC job, because it's equivalent to that one. But these are political offices. Like the one in the county assembly was an issue again of a political dispute between me as an accounting officer and my chair lady, or the speaker. Those tensions which we have also had within the county assemblies, whereby a new leadership comes to office, and because of the positions you have taken in terms of firmness, processes, and the firmness and how you want to implement things, a political decision is made out there to hold you out of office. So those are the challenges I encountered. The first one, first of all, was to institute a malicious criminal case against myself and my management officers. We were arrested, Kamata Friday, we were thrown out, we went to court, and the court under section 210 returned us back to office. So the job of a CEO without proper structures has got those challenges. And that's why, if I'm given the opportunity to become the CEO, sorry, the term has been my lingo for many years, the chairperson of the IBC, I'll be able to assist the commission to navigate that terrain, so that we don't have these unnecessary tensions between the commission and the secretariat, the chairperson and the CEO. I've lived that experience. I've gone through that experience, and what I can do if I sit at that different side, I'll be able to assist the commission not to navigate that one, so that the secretariat is given the latitude to discharge its duties. Back to your question whether I need to negotiate my way back, after I left the assembly, I decided to, because I'd gained experiences, I'd gained competencies, I decided to open a law firm so that I can go back to what I'd set up in life to do, that is practice of law, and also to set up a consultancy so that I can now use my skills which I'd acquired in assisting other institutions. So going back, negotiating back to the county assembly, I think that was a period of time which was very good. I was able to set up the institution from zero to what it is today. So I believe that in life you have to go to the next step and take up the next challenge, and this is now the challenge I'm coming in to take, if you give me the opportunity.
Thank you, Mubenge. Now, in 2018, you just alluded that you are charged in the court of law, and you are charged with 5 others with very serious offenses under the Anti-Corruption and Economic Crimes Act, the Penal Code, the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act, for unlawful acquisition of public property. Maybe this is a chance for you to explain to the public how that ended, and is it part of the problems that you faced at the County Assembly of Nairobi?
Thank you very much for bringing that particular issue. As having set up the institution in 2013, I was able, by 2017, I'd established the entire institution. So in 2017, there was change of leadership in the assembly. Because the clerk is a permanent officer, now you get a new political leadership. And during those particular process, a decision was made by my political leadership to get rid of, to hound us out of office, because that is what that issue I've said, that is what the court found, to order us out of office, together with my management team and also the leaders of the board. So part of the scheme was to create a fictitious or malicious accusation that we had not supplied, we had paid for goods not delivered, books worth 700, around 800,000, and that complaint was based on a draft report of the internal auditor. We were arrested, Kamata Friday, we went to court, we were charged, and the court, we were acquitted under section 210, which means you had no case to answer. And the court in its judgment basically made a finding that this case was maliciously brought by the by the complainant to effect a change in the institution. So this was basically a classic case of abusing the legal process to get rid of officers. And of course, these are the perils of public service in this country, and having undergone that particular process, if you grant me this opportunity to be the chairperson of the IEBC, I will not want to visit the same on my officers or the secretary. I don't think that we need to weaponize the criminal process to remove people from office. Though that was the genesis of the case, and the judgment is here. I've come with the judgment, and if you look at it, you will see the court, when acquitting us, it actually made that finding that those charges were baseless, the complaint was baseless, and it was malicious case.
Thank you, Chairman. I wish you the best, Mubenge.
Thank you very much, and you together with the ambassador, you have actually pronounced the name the way it's supposed to be pronounced.
Okay, let's try Mubenge. We want to ask Professor Adam Solo to ask you some questions.
Thank you, Chair Jacob. Just some preliminaries before I shoot my question. At the moment that you are applying,
move close to the mic.
At the moment that you are applying for this chairmanship, were you aware that the Parliamentary Service Commission would be providing secretarial services to the selection panel?
Actually, I was not aware. I just saw the advertisement the last minute. I moved very quickly. I just picked up, even if you look at my CV, I had not had an opportunity to engage on it, so I did not know that the Parliamentary Service Commission will provide the secretariat services to this particular body.
That is in spite of your legislative expertise that you told us that is your forte. Anyway, I won't ask because you knew what I was going to ask.
Yes, I know.
Now let me go back to where my good friend Bore has left. Because one of the things that you talked about as your skill set when you are answering the vice chair, and as Bore has clarified, was political skills. And I think you have spent some time showing us how your case was weaponized politically. What Bore was trying to say was that if you have political skills, then isn't it also true that in that political divide, you had your side of the political class fighting your case? What do I mean? That after you were acquitted, rightly so, you decided not to take public office, that even the one you took in Isiolo is more of advisory, and it happens, using your political skills, that the governor there was at one point both minority and majority leader in the Nairobi County Assembly. What does that tell us, given the job that you want to take, which is a political office? Wouldn't one insinuate that if you became IEBC chair, you'd use your political skills?
Thank you very much. Before I answer your question, I think I need to put into context what I meant by political management skills. Political management skill did not mean I'm a politician. I meant that I've been a political manager of politicians. So a clerk of the county assembly is a political manager, is a manager of politicians. So being a manager of politicians, in the course of your process, you become a political manager. You acquire political management skills. The law governing the officers of parliament, both at the Parliamentary Service Commission and the County Assembly Service, requires that the officers of these institutions must be non-partisan. You should not be aligned to any political side. That is what I learned in Parliament, and that is what, when I was in the Assembly, I was non-partisan. Had I been a politician there, had I had a political side, I'll be back in office. But because I decided to be an officer, what I've learned before is not align yourself to anybody, go there, do your job. I went to City Hall without knowing any politician. I was sent, I carried my laptop, I arrived, and I set up institution. But in the course of my doing the work which I had set up to do, which I thought is what is in Parliament, whereby the officers in Parliament are insulated from the political intrigues, I found myself thrown in. And thrown into that particular moment, that is where now I found myself in, and I had to leave because now I'm a Kamba in Nairobi. I don't have any political, I don't belong to ODM, I don't belong to Jubilee. So, but the problem, that is how it was. Working for the governor in Isiolo, the governor was, when we started the assembly, he was my minority leader, he was my majority leader later, and also he was my member of the board. So we worked well with him, and he understood my professional confines, he understood my legal skills, he appreciated my knowledge of the law, he appreciated that it doesn't require a courtier to please him. Sitting there as a governor, he needs a legal counsel who is able to give him independent legal advice out of the legal department within the county. And that's why he requested me to come in as a legal advisor so that I can be giving him that independent legal advice whenever the need calls upon. So it was not because he was my political protector, just because during the course of engagement with him, he actually appreciated the limits and my skills and my integrity in terms of integrity and also my legal skills.
I know him very well, that's why I brought it up. Now, Jacob Ngwele, after being acquitted, he says that these political intrigues and public office, I'm done with it. I want to go and open my law firm and do what I professionally was trained for. Those are your words. Yeah?
I did not leave because I was acquitted. I came back to office, and then
a new political regime.
Yes, no, okay. It was during the new political regime that after they failed to get me out with the criminal case, they went ahead and instituted another process, and in between I realized that.
You decided, let me go and open my law firm and proceed. And then barely 2 years later, Jacob Ngwele again is like, I want a public office. Where does Jacob Ngwele draw the line? Wouldn't the same political intrigues follow you into the Iebc chairmanship? Or what clothing does Iebc chairmanship have that will keep you away from the political intrigues that drove you away from the clerk of the Nairobi County Assembly?
Thank you very much, Council. I have to put the issue into context. What I said is that there was a court case, and afterwards, my political, I can call the leadership, I don't want to name names here, but whoever had the desire to hold us out of office devised another scheme. And that scheme was basically to question how my transition from parliament to the county assembly, how it happened. And that the issue, of course, was created there, that I was not properly there. So many issues arose, and basically my natural inclination was to go back to parliament because I'd come on secondment. But I realized at that particular point that instead of going back to parliament, having grown through the profession, having attained certain skill sets, having attained certain experience, it was good for me. It will be demoralizing for me to go back at a junior position. It's better now to grow further and pick up the next challenge, which it's the destiny of us lawyers. So I will not be a quitter. Become a chairman of IBC, I will not be a quitter.
Lastly, can you share with the panel any experience you have had in managing teams and resolving conflicts, especially in high-pressure situations, if you have come across any?
Thank you very much. I'll still draw back to my long experience in the legislature, both the national and county assembly, is that being at the heart of the political process, you are the one who is called upon to give the advice or to provide guidance in that particular process. I was the head of the secretariat. And being the head of the secretariat there, I had officers behind me. So basically I was the team captain. I was the head of the team, which was required to motivate the team so that they can implement. During my period of time, throughout the period I was there, we normally used to encounter on a daily basis challenges. Challenges which our politicians could not even understand. But as the team captain, drawing from my skill sets and my ability to navigate those particular process, I will lead the team to deliver what was required, both from the leadership in the assembly in terms of the work we're supposed to do, and also from the executive. So throughout the period of time, the achievements I was able to achieve in terms of building the chamber of the assembly and committee room, I did not do it alone. I did it as a team captain of a well-organized team which had procurement officers, accountants, and architects. So, and most of these processes, we used to do them under pressure. Pressure of time, pressure of resources. Therefore, I have the inbuilt capacity to withstand pressure. I also have the ability to manage teams so that I basically can describe myself as a transformational leader. I'm able to identify a problem. I'm able to pick up a vision for that particular problem, and then I'm able to manage the team, to guide them so that they can achieve that particular objective. So I'm a team player.
Thank you, Chair.
Do you have some quick questions, please, for the candidate?
Sure. Bwanangwele, you have told us the way one of your skill sets is in legislative experience. One of the celebrated legislative administrators and served for very long as a parliamentary clerk in the 70s. He wrote Parliamentary Practice in Kenya. More recently, posthumously, he wrote, or his writings were published, Parliamentary Demise and Rebirth. in Kenya. Who is that person?
The clerks have known, this one might have been James Ngugi. Rather, it was James Ngugi because the clerks of parliament, one was James Ngugi, then you have Japheth Masia, you had Lindiri, and then you had Gishoi. So if he was in 70s, the clerk who was in office at 70s was basically James Ngugi. And James Ngugi was succeeded by Japheth Masia, that was now post-70s. So
let me try and correct a little bit.
yes.
Do you know of a parliamentary staffer who wrote those two books?
Yeah, if it's a parliamentary staffer, then it's definitely my colleague, my former colleague, Kirui.
Okay, let me ask.
I don't know whether I've answered you. Have I got it right?
That one will be for the panel to decide whether you got it right or not. But I like the way you have walked through the previous clerks. That's why I was revising the question. You served in the city of Director. What's the difference between Nairobi City as a county and Kisumu City as a county?
Thank you very much. Kisumu City as a county is with respect to the municipality of Kisumu, that is a city, under the Urban Areas and Urban Areas Act, whereby you can recognize certain cities which have grown in terms of population and development into cities, but that does not change their nature, that is their county. However, Nairobi County is a county and also a city. All of them are merged together. So you'll never go and create the city of Kariobangi or the city of Buruburu. There'll always be one city in Nairobi. But if Kisumu was privileged enough, they can have two cities if they're able to grow those urban areas to the levels envisaged under the Urban Areas and Cities Act to be cities. They'll gain recognition, so you'll have one county with two cities. But Nairobi is a city and a county.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Uvengei. We have enjoyed this discussion with you. Very robust responses and answers, and we are grateful that you came. We would like to ask you if you have any question for us or any comment you'd like to make, kindly.
Thank you very much, members of the panel. I'm very grateful. I've gone for interviews before. This is one of the most engaging interviews because the traditional format of interviews I'm used to is who is this, what is parliamentary practice, what is the section line of the law and everything. And this one is one of the best interviews I've ever attended in terms of able to draw out the particular, the qualities of that particular candidate. Thank you very much for the exercise you're undertaking. I wish you the best, and I wish you the best so that you can deliver for the country the best commission to deliver the will of Kenyans. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Wishing you all the best in your endeavors. Feel free to pick the water with you and the notebook. You will find your documents as you walk out. Thank you very much, and blessings to you.
Thank you very much, and Chairman and members of the panel.
Asante. We have one candidate to go. So can we have a short break, 5 minutes, to allow Fatuma also to pray, and then we come back. We come back at 17:20 to proceed with the next session. So media, we ask you just to give us 2 minutes. We need to finish something, then we can be able to take that break.